Well, g'day curd nerds. Today we're making Skiz, spelt C-H-I-Z. So Skiz is an Italian cheese, and it's a very fresh cheese. So it doesn't take very long to make it all. And yeah, I think that it's going to taste fairly nice. Anyway, I've cut a bit. You can see the block there of the cheese. It was just made in a feta mould that I had, a square mould. Traditionally it's made in square mould, so yeah, it's pretty cool. It originated in the Alpine regions of Italy, and when the cows came down from the pastures after they made, you know, the Alpine style cheeses, the milk that was left in the udders before the cows dried up, they turned it into Skiz. So this is how you make Skiz.
So this is something I should probably show a little bit more often, but make sure you sanitize your equipment. You can see I'm boiling all of my stainless steel utensils, and I've got my ingredients set out. Now, there's not many for this cheese, just as you'll see, the ingredients are 4 litres or 4 quarts of whole cow's milk, 1/4 teaspoon or 1.25 millilitres of calcium chloride, diluted in 1/4 cup of non-chlorinated water, 1/4 teaspoon or 1.25 millilitres of liquid rennet. I'm using single strength IMCU 200, and that's diluted in 1/4 cup of cool non-chlorinated water. Now I've turned the heat on there. I'm attaching my thermometer just to make sure that we reach the target temperature, which is 38 degrees Celsius or 100 Fahrenheit. Now, to prevent it from heating up any further, I had to take it off my little double boiler set up there. So just making sure the cream's incorporated back in, keeps floating to the top all the time. And we're still at the right target temperature before we add in the ingredients. So we're going to add the calcium chloride solution now to the milk. Now I'm using pasteurised unhomogenised milk, which I found worked really well for this cheese. So just stir through your calcium chloride solution, and this adds soluble calcium back into the milk, which helps it set when you add the rennet to the milk, as I am doing so there. So stir the rennet into the milk, but no more than 1 minute. So cover, and we're going to allow that to set now for 30 minutes at 38 degrees Celsius, 100 Fahrenheit. The reason the temperature is so high is because there is no acidification of the milk, and the rennet sets better when the temperature is higher. So we're going to check for a clean break now, and that looks pretty good. But if yours isn't set at this stage, wait another 10 minutes and then try again. Now I'm doing some cuts there, doing 2 centimetre or 3/4 inch columns. I'm not doing any horizontal cuts at the moment. So pop the lid back on, and we're going to wait, allow the curds to rest for 3 minutes before we do the next set of cuts. So cut the curds now into 1.25 centimetre or 1/2 inch cubes. I'm just using my trusty curd harp there, spinning it around gently to cut the rest of the curds horizontally. Now if you don't have something like this tool, then you can use your curd knife and angle it at a 45-degree angle and cut the curd all the way around. So once your curd has been cut, we're going to stir for 30 minutes, so very gently, as the curd may be a little bit fragile. So we're keeping them at 36 degrees. Let the temperature drop a little bit, down to 36 or 96.8 Fahrenheit. So I'm just checking the temperature there, just to make sure that I'm still good to go. Yep, close enough to 36. So stirring for 30 minutes reduces the size of the curds quite dramatically. And you can see the stark difference there from when I started to when I finished 30 minutes later. So just pop the lid on and allow the curds to settle for 10 minutes to allow for easy draining. So we're going to dip off the whey now down to the level of the curds. So I'm just using a ladle. Now what you can do is use a sieve, place that into the curds and whey, and then dip the ladle into the sieve. I didn't have my sieve available at this stage, so I just had to wing it using a ladle and try not to get any curds in there. So just taking off as much whey as possible until you see the curds. And I can just see the curds there. Now prepare 2 square feta baskets and ladle the curds into them. Now I'm preferencing one of the baskets just to make sure, see if I could fit it all into one of them. Now, it didn't look like I was, so I put a little bit into the second basket, but most of it went into the first. So just keep piling it up. There we go. All good. Now we are going to combine the 2 curd masses together as they drain. So to do that, we allow the curds to drain for 30 minutes. That's just a close-up shot of what they look like. And 30 minutes later, you can see they've shrunk in the mold. So we're going to flip the curds over every 30 minutes for 4 hours. Just using a plastic mat there and the feta basket. Trying not to spill it and make it go everywhere. There we go. A bit of a bang on the top and gets it to settle down. So I've set the timer for 30 minutes again. There we go. So 30 minutes later, they've shrunk some more. Just flip them over again. And we're going to transfer the smaller slab, which was in the second basket, into the first basket just to make one single cheese. Now you may not have to do this if your baskets are a little bit bigger. There we go. Now I'm using the second basket to press down firmly to get the curds to meld together into one solid slab. Just a little bit of hand pressure, not too much. We don't want to lose any of the fat out of the curds. Just enough that that kind of fuses together. And then just let it drain back on its mat. And let that drain for another 30 minutes. So from here on in, it's kind of just keep flipping. So by flipping the cheese over, we're helping more whey be expelled and drain, and for the curds to firm up into a cheese. So another 30 minutes on the clock. "30 minutes later, it shrunk some more, so we're still flipping. This 4 hours seemed to like to go for eternity, but it was worth it in the end. So 30 minutes later, this is the penultimate flip, the all but last one, of course, and it's shrinking some more in the mold. And this is the last one. Now what I'm doing here is removing it from the basket. I didn't want it to look like a little pyramid, so I want to kind of square it up a little bit more. And popped it in there and gave it a bit of a bang so it's settled in. Now what we're going to do is allow the cheese to drain overnight. So this is the 4 hours of flipping all finished now. Let that drain overnight. Now if you've got a little handy umbrella, then you can do that. Now once the draining's finished, flip it out onto a cheese board for serving. And that's it. No salt, no nothing. It's quite firm, but this is a very, very fresh cheese. And you can see how firm it is just by me slicing through with a sharp knife there. There we go. You can't even see the line where we melded the two together. Now you can store this at 4 degrees Celsius or 39 Fahrenheit for 2 to 3 days. It won't keep very long because there isn't any salt. Now over to Gav for a taste test.
Right, so fairly simple process as you saw. I let this drain overnight as well. I kept it out at room temperature. It hasn't shrunk much more than it was when it was in the mold. So remember, this cheese has no salt whatsoever. It's just milk with rennet, and it's turned into a solid block basically. One of the freshest cheeses, and because it has no salt, you've got to be careful. You've got to eat it within a few days. So let's try some of this. I've got some lovely condiments here. I'm going to try it with, obviously I've got some tomatoes, I've got some balsamic vinegar, I've got some basil infused Australian extra virgin olive oil, and I've got salt and pepper. And I've got some water crackers with a little bit of pepper in them as well. Okay, so let's just try a little bit by itself without anything on top of it and see what it tastes like. How would I describe that? It's milky, very milky. Well, remember, it's basically essence of milk, solid milk, with no any other additives besides the rennet and the calcium chloride to firm it up after pasteurisation. Now, I dare say if you probably made it with raw milk, it would taste a little bit different because it would have had some cultures in there, but the pasteurisation has certainly killed that off. It's pleasant enough, but it doesn't have much with it. It doesn't come with much flavour besides a milkiness that comes with the cheese. So let's try some of the bits on top. So I'll cut up a tomato. Grab myself a cracker, put a bit of Skiz on top, bit of tomato. What have we got here? Just going for a bit of cracked pepper and a bit of salt. That's the first test. All right. It's very nice because the acidity of the tomato and the salt and pepper have added something to that. That was very nice, very pleasant aperitif or hors d'oeuvre. So let's try a bit of the Skiz with. There we go. Let's have a little bit of olive oil. Remember, this is basil infused. It's just a tiny bit on top. And just a drip. See if I can get a drip out of this without it going everywhere. Whoa, my goodness, all over the table. All right, all in, let's have a look. That's very nice. Let me just clean up this mess with my clean tea towel before Kim sees it. There we go. All clean. Wouldn't even know I did it. So you just cover it up. That was very nice. The acidity hit of the balsamic vinegar and the flavour of the olive oil, delightful. Really, really nice. So I'm going to have a little bit more. This is very nice. I'm going to go and share some with Kim. But if you want to make a quick, fresh cheese, then highly recommend Skiz. Very simple to make. Make sure, though, that you've got unhomogenized milk when you make this. The curd set's so much better than if you were just using pasteurized homogenized milk. And don't forget to add the calcium chloride or your curd set won't be very good, because there is no acidification, so the rennet really has to work hard. So you've got to have fairly decent quality milk to get the curd set. Anyway, I think that's a success. Nice soft cheese, so Skiz, that's a very good one. We're going to have to eat it within a few days because it's not salted. So I'll be giving some away to family and friends, I think, as well. Anyway, if you want to support the show, feel free to join, become a YouTube member or a patron, and the links are down below. You get bonuses by getting early previews for the making videos like this one. There's different tiers of membership within Patreon, and you get bonuses like kits and stuff like that. For this kit, I probably would recommend the feta cheese kit because it's got the baskets in it, and you can check that out at littlegreenworkshops.com.au. Well, thank you for watching, Curd Nerds, and I will see you next time.